Hi guys, Ashley here. Today I'm bringing you my colleague Syca Jiang and we're gonna talk about localization in China. How can foreign brands localize in China? First question, how can they do it? Is localization important?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important because China culture is so much different from the Western culture, and I can say it's not only because China that it's so important. But if you are entering into a foreign market, it's always important for you to do the localization, no matter when it comes to your brand's naming, the product, the design, the content, the sentiment, the consumers, everything is so different. So we have to use this localization strategy to cater to this market chain, to cater to our consumers. So absolutely, it's so important.
So don't go into China thinking that you can have the same product, the same message, the same brand name, and without changing anything, correct?
Yeah, and I actually noticed that for many foreign brands, when they're entering into China market, they have built up their social presence on different platforms. For example, the WeChat, the Weibo, the Red, the Douyin, and actually they are just moving the Western style directly to the China's platforms. And of course you can imagine, so their engagement is pretty low, and they don't have really like followers, they don't really influence other people, they don't create any new consumers. So it's quite I can say, find us to do the
They just don't resonate. Don't
yeah.
resonate. And you need to, as you said, influence, right? You need to have that influence, and very importantly, you need to have trust. You need to make sure that people feel that you are on the same, in the same boat, and that you can help them solve their unique problem.
Yeah.
So consumer and brand, what is the relationship? The relationship is any company, any business's job is to solve somebody's pain point, solve somebody's problem. So if you are disconnected from the market, then people feel that I've got a unique problem here, and you might not be able to help me because you are just so disconnected, so be aware of that. It's very, very important. So how can brands successfully localize in China? You've mentioned it can be product development, it can be a name, which is very, very important. It can be choosing the right platforms and doing different content. So how can they localize successfully?
Yeah, I can say for the successful localization, you have to have this strategy first. And when I say strategy, it refers to a very comprehensive and systematic thing. Because you cannot like come up with some idea, oh, I want to do that, I want to change my name, I want to change my product, I want to do some content, because it's not consistent, it's not like within the same system. And if you do that and you don't follow that kind of tone and manner, and it can be very like bizarre, weird, and different from each other. It does no good for your brand's image and reputation. So I would say you have to build up this this very systematic strategy first. You understand what kind of value I want to deliver to my audience, what kind of content do I want to share with the audience, and after that we can, according to those results, based on that we can develop different methodologies. For example, the brand's naming, the social media content, and the product development. And actually I also have this example for you to share. It is a toy brand in a Western country, and actually recently they are considering to enter into China market. So we help them to do the strategy. And of course, as we've mentioned in the previous episode, so for a comprehensive strategy, we will help them to define the market, to understand their consumers, to understand the competitors. So throughout this process, what we found is very interesting. For example, the consumer's sentiment towards their packaging. So we know in Western countries, especially in USA, so people, they love this huge package
Boxes.
Yeah, the boxes, because the giants, the Marvel thing. Yeah, they love those very giant packages, these giant things. It gives them like, wow, I'm super powerful. Yes, but in China, you know what? The consumers, when they receive those packages, they would have this very high expectation. Wow, what would be there? There must
Why
be.
is it so huge?
Yeah, there must be so many stuff there. Oh, I'm so happy. So I opened it, and actually it turns out, for example, the package is this large, and then the stuff is only like this small. So you can imagine they're so disappointed. And at the first sight, they will think, oh, I don't think this brand is very valuable. It's very I don't think I can trust them anymore, because it's almost, to me, think it's a lie. It's why I pay so much money, and then you gave me such small product. So
In such a big box.
in such a big box. We are not saying that this brand, they does something wrong. It's just the cultural difference. And if they want to be successful in China, so absolutely they have to develop a new product, develop new design, develop new packages, yes, to cater to the Chinese consumers. So I think that's one of the most interesting insights we found throughout the research.
Yeah, so localization, absolutely, and I love this particular case because you see that localization is an ongoing process. For some companies that are just going into China, it's clear, oh, I need to make sure that my brand name is appealing in China. By the way, 80 to 90% of your brand search is not going to happen in English. So if your name is called something French, and I do not speak that language, but something very beautiful, very long, gorgeous, and it's a collection of Latin letters, people are not going to search by that name. They very often will not even be able to spell it. So what they're going to do is they're going to use your Chinese name. If you don't have a Chinese name, what are they going to do? They're going to invent the Chinese name for you. And that is, of course, if you are lucky and your product actually gets a grip in the market, and people are going to talk about it. But of course, whatever they say or however they call you, it's not going to be under the brand control. So you want to prevent it. You want to prepone it by creating your own Chinese name. At the same time, here in this example, looking at the product, is the product really fitting? Is the packaging really resonating with customers? And also the positioning. Sometimes, like we had this other case recently, right, where the positioning of the product was very high-end in another market, the US, and when they came to China, well, actually there are cheaper and better quality options available in the mid sector. So you can no longer position it as luxury. So you either drop your product to what you feel is dropping to this middle level, right, mid-level field, or you need to increase the quality of the product, of the packaging, etc., if you still want to play there. So sometimes it's very, very important to capture those expectations of the market and understand, how to uniquely manifest yourself through them.
Yes, and also the brand's value is also very important. For example, in Western countries, as parents, we always think we want them to be free, we want them to be happy, we want them to be an individual, a different soul. Even it's so different from others, we are happy. But in China, it's completely different. For example, my parents, when I was young, they always want me to study hard. They always want me to go to a very good college and find a good job. The spirits, the free spirit, no, I never heard that.
They wouldn't encourage you a free spirit. No, stay where you are, just perform well, right?
Yeah, so when they are positioning their products and bring out the brand's message, so it's definitely not suitable in China to bring out, oh, we can help your children to develop their free spirit. Then Chinese parents, they will not buy for it.
Yeah, because that's not the pain point. The pain point is elsewhere, and you need to recognize it.
Yeah.
Moving on, what are some of the key social media platforms fit for localization?
Well, I can say the main platforms can be WeChat, Weibo, Red, and also the very changed short video platforms such as the Douyin and the Kuaishou. Yeah. So because those platforms are very dynamic, they always evolving themselves to the new functions, and also on those platforms have the most main consumer groups, such as the Chinese young consumers, and they always keep updated to the trends. Yeah. So I would say these three platforms.
What about Bilibili?
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned a very good point. So for Bilibili, actually, it is a long video platform, and often the content there is more on the 二次元, you know, the animation and
ACG, anime comics,
yeah,
games.
yeah, and also those funny videos. But in recent years, it's also evolving itself. It's more approachable to all kinds of audience. So, but mainly on that platform, the users are students, are young people, very well educated, and they're curious to all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so I'd say for a brand, you have to have this mindset. You have to understand what kind of consumers you are targeting, and then to choose the right platform.
Absolutely. And my last question for you today would be, what about localizing a name? Because that's where we very often start. If the product already has been tested against the market, and if you have the strategy, you're ready to do it, what about localizing that name? Can you give us a good case? Can you tell us what is the process?
Yeah, sure. Because recently we've also helped several brands to develop their name, and actually I can share with you two good examples not created by us. So firstly, it's a search engine. So its name is Bing, B-I-N-G, Bing. So what is Chinese name? It's Bi Ying. So firstly, you can notice that the pronunciation is pretty similar. And secondly, these two characters are very easy to understand, to memorize. And thirdly, it actually caters to Chinese culture. Because in Chinese, we have this phrase, which is called 有求必应. If you ask anything, I can give you, no matter what it is. So that is what search engine for, right? So okay, so this is the good example, and I will jump to another bad example, I would say, which is very well-known brand, 麦当劳, McDonald's. So actually, right now, we still say it as 麦当劳, but actually its official name, Chinese name, has changed. Guess what? It's called 金拱门.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. Because it's an M, right? So in China, it looks like a door, a 门, and the color is yellow. So it's like the golden color. 金 and 拱means the shape. 金拱门. But for us, for Chinese consumers, we would think, what?
Because they are trying to bring it back to this Western, golden art.
Yeah. That's true. But for us, we cannot resonate. We cannot relate to this name. So of course, it actually aroused a very big discussion on the social media. But actually, the consumer sentiment are not as good. I mean, as good as they looking forward to.
But why do you think they changed that name?
Well,
they were called 麦当劳 for so many years, and suddenly they do rebranding, and it's a total fiasco.
Yeah, actually, it's not due to their branding, their branding perspective, but it is because of the policy and the company policy thing, because they changed some shareholder. I'm not sure about that, but it's not due to their
desire to change it.
Desire, but they have to, yeah.
Yeah, well, it will probably still be in China called 麦当劳, what it used to be called years ago. Thank you so much for sharing those cases. Guys, when entering China, when working in China, definitely localize. And it's not a one-time process. It needs to happen constantly. You need to make sure that you stay in touch with the fast evolving China market. Thank you so much for being with us today. If you guys need any help with localization, be it a Chinese name or creating a strategy or having us review, where you are right now in terms of China potential for success, do reach out, and I'd be very happy to connect you with Syca and her team to discuss more. Meanwhile, stay tuned for our more videos on topics of Chinese consumers, digital marketing and e-commerce, and have an awesome day.